I stand in front of the meticulously prepared feast, rendered speechless by the effort I've poured into it. Yet, as I glance around the table, my heart sinks. Why would Mia, my esteemed brother-in-law's wife, be so mercilessly cold towards me? Sophia, a 27-year-old office worker, shares her life with her husband Tom and their 3-year-old son. Tom, her senior by 4 years, and she initially embarked on a relationship rooted in professional dynamics. Their connection blossomed over shared drinks, leading to a romance that culminated in marriage just a year later. Now, nestled in their cozy home, they relish the joy of parenthood and the promise of a growing family. However, amidst this domestic bliss, a thorn emerges: Mia, the wife of Tom's brother Jack. Let me introduce you to Tom and Jack. Tom is Jack's elder brother by 10 years. Their father tragically passed away in an accident during their youth, leaving their mother, who had previously been a homemaker, deeply shaken. Despite her efforts to recover and return to work, she could only manage part-time hours, having previously dedicated herself to running the household. In response to the family's financial strain, Jack, then a college student, made the selfless decision to leave his studies and seek employment to support them. He declared, "I want Tom to have a proper college education," and tirelessly toiled without complaint. Thanks to Jack's sacrifices and some scholarships, Tom was able to attend college and secure a position at his current company. Jack beamed with pride when Tom and Sophia, his future wife, announced their engagement. At every opportunity, Tom expressed his profound gratitude to Jack, even shedding tears of appreciation at their wedding, declaring, "Without you, I wouldn't be standing here today." Emotions ran high as the room was moved by his heartfelt words. Jack never once displayed a hint of superiority towards Tom. He always approached life with generosity, warmth, and consideration towards both Tom and Sophia. However, after Sophia and Tom settled into their new home near Jack's family, Mia, Jack's wife, began making unsettling comments. She often remarked to Sophia, "You should be grateful to my husband." Jack's demanding job frequently kept him away on lengthy business trips and required him to work late into the night. On these occasions, Maya would invariably show up at Sophia and Tom's doorstep without warning. Living just a short walk away, Jack and Maya would bring their children over for dinner and baths, leaving Sophia to tend to them before returning home, ready for bed. Maya's demands extended to meal preferences, dictating, "I'm not in the mood for Western cuisine today, make something Japanese," or, "My child insists on having hamburger steak tonight," placing Sophia in a difficult position. Despite her discomfort, Sophia couldn't assert herself, mindful of the indebtedness owed to Jack. "Tom, remember, it's because of Jack that you're where you are today. Thanks to him, you went to college and landed a job at a prestigious company." Jack, on the other hand, struggled after high school and is still trying to climb the career ladder. If only he had gone to college, things would be different for him. "That's why we're in a new house while they're in an older one. You owe him for all he's done for us," Maya would often remind Tom, leaving him speechless and unable to refute her claims. Though he occasionally voiced concerns about her delegating too much household work to Sophia, given that Sophia works full-time while Maya is a homemaker, he hesitated to address the debt he owed to Jack. "Sorry, but it's because of my brother that I'm here today. Could you please try to work things out with Mia?" Tom pleaded with me. Reluctantly, I agreed to his request. However, our conciliatory approach only seemed to embolden Mia, leading to a surge in her demands. Her vexing behavior fell into two main categories. Firstly, she would frequently drop by our house to dine or bathe her children, and secondly, she often exploited my hospitality to enhance her image in front of our relatives. On the occasion of our relatives visiting, I'd like to prepare dinner for them and host them, she declared. Initially, I assumed I would also get the chance to socialize with my own family. Yet after I finished cooking, she promptly ushered me out, insisting, "Our relatives will be arriving soon, so it's best if you leave." Later, I overheard Mia and our relatives praising her culinary skills, crediting her with all the cooking. This scenario repeated itself each time Maya invited relatives over. I would cook, be sent home, foot the bill for ingredients, and Maya would take all the credit without even lifting a finger to help. Moreover, I was always tasked with arranging mid-year gifts and thank you presents for Jack's bosses and relatives who had supported him. These gifts were invariably sent under Maya's name, with her dictating instructions to me on what to do. At every family gathering, Jack's superiors and relatives would commend Mia for being such a devoted and accomplished wife, often telling me, "You should learn from her, Sophia." I lost count of how many times I heard that refrain. I swallowed my frustration and calmly said, "Tom and I are the ones preparing these gifts. We're willing to do it, but you need to cover the costs. We have our own obligations to send mid-year and year-end gifts, and it's becoming too expensive for us." Maya dismissed my concerns. "That's nothing compared to what Jack sacrificed. He paid for your tuition and living expenses, Tom. Are you seriously complaining about the cost of a few gifts?" she retorted. Turning to me, she accused, "You know Jack gets praised because of the effort I put into these things. That's part of repaying Jack's kindness, isn't it? A wife who doesn't help her husband repay such a debt is the worst. Plus, it's I keep track of the timing for these gifts. You won't forget them either." Mia often exploited Jack's favor towards Tom to impose her demands on us. We were responsible for all seasonal letters, New Year's cards, and mid-year and year-end gifts. Whenever anything went wrong, she would say, "Tom owes his success to Jack," as if it were a cliché. She would also say things like, "You should consult us if you want to take on such tasks," without offering any guidance. I felt humiliated as I tallied up the expenses for each month and every event. Then came the breaking point. Maya requested that I prepare a meal for about 20 of our relatives for a summer gathering at her house. Typically, our relatives gather at the home of a more senior family member during summer and New Year's events. However, Maya insisted, "Please come to our house." Her relatives were delighted, believing her to be a great cook and a considerate hostess, but she expected me to handle all the preparations. Tom had other commitments that day, leaving me to manage everything on my own. When I asked Mia how she planned to pay for the event, she said, "We'd have to cover it ourselves. Preparing food and drinks for 20 people is a significant drain on our family finances." I suggested splitting the bill, but she flatly refused. "Jack has endured so much hardship. He deserves at least this much," she insisted. I then suggested discussing the matter with Tom, but she exploded, "I will not forgive you if you do that. Jack is busy with work right now. Are you repaying kindness with ingratitude?" I was at my wit's end, but the dinner party was fast approaching. As the date neared, I noticed Mia showed no signs of urgency or preparation. With no other option, I began planning the event several days in advance. I also started making some behind-the-scenes arrangements. On the day of the dinner, I began preparations early in the morning, working tirelessly and managing to finish everything just a few hours before the guests were due to arrive, despite my exhaustion. After I finished all the preparations, Maya came to check on me. "Maya, everything is ready. I believe the guests can arrive at any time now," I informed her. Glancing at the dishes on the table, Maya exclaimed, "What are you doing? The main dish should be eel rice." "You never mentioned eel rice," I replied, taken aback. "You should have known that. This is so embarrassing. Our relatives are coming for the summer festival, and they'll think I can't even prepare eel rice. Order it right away." "No, I've already prepared enough food for everyone, and the fish I bought is fresh. I'm not going to prepare a different dish now," I responded firmly. "It has to be eel rice," Maya insisted, refusing to listen to my protests. She demanded we order a special batch for everyone, using our own money. When I asked her to cover the costs, she flatly refused. I couldn't take it any longer and voiced my frustrations. I reminded her that she always made me cook whenever she invited relatives over, that she came to our house daily when Jack was away, and that we handled all the mid-year and year-end gifts, including today's preparations. Maya countered with the usual talk about Jack's sacrifices. Fed up, I decided to reveal what I knew. "Maya, you even had an affair with someone you met on a dating app, didn't you? You're a housewife, yet you leave so many responsibilities to me." I got curious and looked into it. "Oh, so you know about that," she responded with a laugh, "but I'm afraid you don't have any proof. Besides, I'm handling that situation just fine. By cooperating with me, you're essentially returning the favor. It's all part of the deal." Maya remained unfazed despite the revelation about her affair. Instead, she reiterated what Jack had done for Tom, saying, "You will be repaying our family for the rest of your lives." At this point, I had reached my breaking point. I silently removed the food and started packing my belongings. "I'm leaving. I will never return," I said firmly as I walked out. Maya yelled something about ordering eel rice, but I ignored her and left. A few minutes later, my phone began ringing repeatedly with calls from Mia. When I finally answered, she sounded panicked. "What? What's going on?" Is there something wrong? I asked her, feigning ignorance. I have so many inquiries. She continued frantically. I rearranged the dishes you made, and I ordered eel rice, paying for it with my own money. But none of the relatives showed up. It seems they know everything we discussed earlier. I couldn't stop laughing. I was also astonished that she had tried to salvage the situation by rearranging the food I had prepared. The reality was as follows. I couldn't tolerate Mia's arrogance any longer. Before she could criticize me further, I decided to talk to Jack directly, hoping he would offer some sound advice. I believed that Jack, unlike Mia, wouldn't hold their past support over my head. When I explained the situation to Jack, he seemed skeptical. He had always seen Mia as the perfect wife who made a good impression on her relatives. She presented herself as the ideal partner, preparing hot meals with a smile for Jack when he returned from work. Meals that often came from our kitchen. She arrogantly took large amounts of food from our house and missiled Jack, claiming they frequently invited me to dinner but didn't want to bother him with the details. She never mentioned my involvement in the gifts, always smiling and saying, "It's natural for a wife to handle these details to save her husband's face." Jack was always impressed, thinking, I married a wife who's too good for me. So when Jack heard my side of the story, he was speechless. Being a good man, he didn't accuse me of lying but believed there must be some misunderstanding between Maya and me. So, I pondered on how to present him with evidence. Would you allow me to gather some evidence? I asked Jack respectfully. With his permission, I decided to discreetly record Maya's conversations during her visits to our house, especially those where she displayed selfishness about food. Music. I captured a conversation where she insisted that we owed her obedience due to Jack's kindness, and I asked Jack to listen to it. When he heard it, he was speechless. Additionally, I informed Jack about an upcoming dinner party Maya and I were supposedly preparing together for her relatives. With his consent, I recorded everything from the moment I started preparing the meal to Maya's outbursts about using my money to order eel rice and her admission of the affair. I had arranged a video call with Jack and his relatives in advance, informing my own family about the scheduled time and date. It was during this call that Jack and his relatives finally learned the truth about Mia. After I departed, Jack's relatives confronted Mia over the call, expressing disbelief at the revelation that I had been handling all the year-end and mid-year gifts, taking advantage of Jack's kindness, and even engaging in adultery. Maya attempted to maintain her composure, but the weight of the evidence left her speechless. The majority of her relatives denounced her, severing ties with her and leaving Maya stunned. Jack, who had postponed his work to be present for the call, returned home and confronted Mia about the situation. I am disappointed, he told me later. He revealed to Mia that her actions had caused distress for his beloved younger brother and his wife in his absence, and that her admission of an affair had shattered him. Maya broke down in tears, confessing that she had targeted me out of jealousy over our younger age and our nicer home. She claimed her affair stemmed from loneliness due to Jack's frequent absences and admitted to devising a plan to manipulate us after hearing Tom's heartfelt thank you letter to Jack at our wedding. I was infuriated by Mia's relentless harassment, but I also felt a pang of sympathy for Jack. I hadn't worked tirelessly for Tom's sake to create a sense of indebtedness, but rather out of love for my dear younger brother. My efforts were not fueled by the desire to hold them over his head in the future. I was proud to see Tom thriving in a reputable company, growing into a remarkable individual. As for Maya's disparaging remarks about my salary, I explained to her that it wasn't Tom's fault. It was simply my own lack of ambition. Further revelations surfaced about Maya's conduct. We learned that she had left their children unattended at home while she met her adulterous partner. Jack decided to pursue divorce proceedings, seeking custody of their children along with alimony. Maya vehemently opposed the idea of divorce, eventually agreeing to a slight reduction in alimony in exchange for a proper divorce and custody arrangements. Her affair had been uncovered by Jack, who also demanded full alimony. In the end, Maya moved back to her parents' home and took on multiple part-time and day jobs to meet the financial demands of double alimony and child support. A few months later, Maya appeared disheveled when she met me for a visit to see her child. Later, Jack apologized to us and covered the expenses for the ingredients and alcohol from the dinner party. He also promised to reimburse us for the meals Maya had consumed at our house and for the gifts she had made us prepare. But after discussing it, Tom and I declined the offer. I apologized to Jack because while this incident was meant to address Mia's wrongdoing, it also brought shame upon him and his family, I expressed, reflecting on the situation. I doubt Mia would have felt any remorse if we hadn't taken action, Jack chuckled. If anything, I am at fault for not noticing Mia's behavior until now, he added with a hint of sadness. Jack is currently juggling work responsibilities while caring for their child. We maintain regular contact with him, and on days when he's overwhelmed, we offer to look after his child at our home or invite him over for dinner. We've learned a valuable lesson about how some people can make you feel indebted even when they haven't done you any favors. Tom and I laughed together,